once they discover that the Emperor's brother Lorenzo is plotting, Adam does a few things. He goes to some different planets to try and find out what Lorenzo is up to. And one of the things that's highlighted is the fact that something's going on with Zeta 5. So Connor and one of his mentors, Eric, takes him to Zeta 5, and in there, some stuff develops and a prophecy unfolds that Connor ends up in the middle of.
Fitz of Writing.
Hey there, Scribbles and Scratches. Welcome to the Fitz of Writing. I am your host this episode, R.M. Johnson, and as always, this is for our creative edification as well as your entertainment. If you guys like what we're doing on the channel, you like the guests we're having on, you want to support that, just remember to like, comment, and subscribe on all of our platforms. This week, our most humble benefactor and patron, Sir Dr. Duncan Cackworth, Esquire, has brought us a science fiction novel, Zeta 5. So we sought out its author, R.D. Moreno, right? To discuss his intriguing piece of fiction. Welcome to the show, Rick. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. It's a pleasure to have you on. So talking about Zeta 5, that's what we brought you onto the show to discuss and let you promote that, get that out in the ether there. I believe in your submission you said it's a mixture of Dune meets Game of Thrones meets Stargate. You want to kind of unpack that a little bit for us?
Yeah. So if you're into Dune, you're into Game of Thrones, and you're into Stargate, then this book is right up your alley. There's a prophecy involved here. There's a young warrior that is trying to make his way. And in the beginning of the book, it highlights the fact that he's just starting out. He's got an older brother, Adam, that's been doing it for a while. But the crux of the story is the Emperor has a younger brother, Lorenzo. He's an embittered scientist, and he's plotting to overthrow the throne. So the Emperor engages Connor and Adam to help him figure out what's going on before it's too late.
And so Connor is your MC, right?
Yeah.
Now, what's the last name? I tried to put it into my notes, but I was like, I know I'm going to mess it up if I try, so I thought I'd just ask.
Don't worry. Yeah, Connor Balcazar. Yep.
All right. So, and what as a main character, like, how would you describe him, like, personally? Like, what do you feel like the audience, your readers, are going to attach to for him?
Yeah. So in this book, what I do is I try to demonstrate the fact that he is new to this. He's trying to figure it out. He's probably in his early 20s is kind of how I estimate ages for people in the book. And like I said, he's got older brother Adam. Adam's been out there doing this kind of stuff for a while. And what their main function is in this story is they support the Emperor bringing on new planets. So they'll go to a new planet that they're trying to engage, and if there's wars going on or whatever in the planet while they're trying to bring it on, then what they do is they try to come on and settle that as it's going on. And the first chapter of the book, I kind of highlight that this is going on in there. And Connor, since this is all new to him, I demonstrate the fact that this is his first opportunity to get involved, and his brother Adam gets trapped behind enemy lines. So Connor has to try and help his brother get back.
And the stage for this, we'll call it a melodrama, I don't know, for this scene is Zeta 5, and you describe that as a warlike mining planet, is that right?
Yeah, so like I said, trying to pay homage to Dune, I tried to come up with a unique scenario. So Zeta 5 is a large mining planet. It's actually has asteroids that surround the planet. You can't get into the planet because of the asteroid fields that surround it. But once every 3 months, there's 3 moons that align, and they pull on the asteroid field and create an opening so you can fly in. You've got a day and a half to fly into Zeta 5, do whatever you're going to do, and then get out. If you don't get out within that day and a half, then you're there for 3 months.
And I don't want to, I don't want to have you spoil too much, but you did mention a
Yeah.
prophecy. Do you want to
Yes.
elaborate on that, or is
Yeah.
it too integral?
Yeah. So, no. I can highlight a little bit of that. And so, while Adam is off, once they discover that the Emperor's brother Lorenzo is plotting, Adam does a few things. He goes to some different planets to try and find out what Lorenzo is up to. And one of the things that's highlighted is the fact that something's going on with Zeta 5. So Connor and one of his mentors, Eric, takes him to Zeta 5, and in there, some stuff develops and a prophecy unfolds that Connor ends up in the middle of.
And so, is this Yeah, I don't want you to have. I don't want you to spoil too much. I want to help you market your book, but I don't want you to just make it useless to buy. So is this your first novel, or are you into it a little bit?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. And I always wanted to write, but I never had the time to do it. I did some creative writing when I was in high school, never really went anywhere. But the other problem was grammar was never my thing. So I knew after I wrote this book, it took, it's a bit of a chunker. It's 640 pages. And I wrote it in 6 months. And yeah.
How long? So well, I mean, 6 months isn't bad. That's pretty fast.
Yeah.
How long do you feel like the editing process was? So when you say you wrote it, is that just the first draft, or like more?
Yeah, so that's the first. Yeah, that's the first draft. It was probably 165,000 words by the time I was done, and I actually tried to go the traditional publishing route, and I got a few thank you but no thank you type notes. They weren't mean about it. It's just no, it's not something that we think we're really interested at this time. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Pretty copy
So
and paste with their responses.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm one of those guys that you don't tell me you can't do something. I'm the type of guy, if you tell me you can't do it, then it's okay. How do I figure out a way to do it? So I ended up going the indie route, but I knew I was going to need help. So I knew I was going to need good editing and the rest of it. I had a couple of different groups approach me, but these were the kind of places that wanted to just do some quick edits to it and then throw it out there. And I knew based on what my skills were at the time that it was going to need more than that. So I found a group called Paper Raven Books, and they asked if they could read a good portion of my book, and they did. And they came back and they said, "Yeah, we think you really have something here." But they listed a whole bunch of things that they thought needed to be done, and with that was all the editing involved with that. And so I signed up with them, and we probably went through 3 rounds of editing. They helped me get a cover for the book. They helped me with tracking the process for the project and the rest of it, and then getting it put on Amazon. So I was real happy with the final product.
And that was Paper Ravens.
Paper Raven Books. Yeah.
Books. All right. Is that a hybrid publisher, or like?
Yeah. So they help indie authors. So what they'll do is like I said, they'll help you do all the editing, everything that they think you're going to need to get the book out there. And I still own 100% of the rights to the book. They just help me with the fact of actually getting it to the point where I can put it on Amazon and have a quality product.
Well, I do want to put a pin in that. I am going to come back to that in our kind of in the second half. I want to focus, just keep focused on the book right now. I do want to kind of bring it back a little bit to the book. This is your first one.
Sure.
Can you break down some like interesting characters outside of the main character? I feel like you kind of gave them a suppose. Like, is there anybody else we should be on the lookout for?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like I said, you've got Connor and Adam. The Emperor has 2 daughters, Christina and Emily. So there is kind of a romantic element between the 2 girls and the 2 guys within this book. And early on, I kind of hint that Christina has warrior capabilities as well. And those end up coming out probably in the last half of the book. And you find out what kind of warrior she really is and what her true capabilities are as you go into this.
And so, I was going to ask you about love interests, but it seems like you got
Yeah,
some in there, and I don't want to, talk too much about it. So I feel like it's a good tease. It sounds like
sure.
you have some kind of triangle or multi-angle triangle or something happening. I'm sure that'll intrigue some people. I am curious about the origin of the idea.
Um, well, all right, so let's step back a minute. When I was in high school, I had read Dune, the first book of Dune, right after I got into high school. And after I read that, I thought how amazing it would be to write something like that. And then shortly after I read that book, I discovered cars and then girls, and then you graduate high school and you get a job and you go from there and a family and all the rest of it. So it never lent itself to being able to sit down and actually write something until I retired. And I was kind of pushed into it retirement during COVID. I was already planning my exit strategy, but company in their infinite wisdom decided that they wanted me to go earlier than I was planning. But they actually did me a favor in the long run. I was happy with it. They came back to me probably 3 months later and said, "We really would love for you to come back. You were affecting a lot of stuff that we were doing, and we really need your help." And it's like, yeah, thanks, but no thanks. I'm happy where I am. Good luck in your future endeavors.
Yeah, we pushed you out early, but then we realized that was stupid. Can you please come back? Nah,
Yeah.
not really.
Yeah.
This is all universally laugh at that for a moment.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I wish we all had that kind of experience from a job that let us go a little too soon. I think
Yeah, that would be great.
yeah, I think we're waiting for it for like the first 2 weeks, and then afterward we're like, oh, well, we didn't have that much importance in the company, I
guess. I guess they really didn't need me.
Yeah, yeah. I am curious. Can you hold up the book there? I know you had it out there. I want to show everyone the cover art here. I think it's really nice. Where did you get that done? Is that part of the process with the paper ravens, or did you seek that out?
Yeah, so we did a cover contest with 99 designs, and they came back with about 20 different cover pieces of cover art, and this was one of the last ones to come in. And when I saw the original book or the original cover, I said, "That's it. That's the one I needed." But I had to do some tweakings. So in there, it's kind of hard to see, but the girls has blonde hair, and the swords are red. And in there, when I described the Emperor's daughters, they look like blonde-haired twins. Is how I described them. So that's why I wanted the woman to have blonde hair. And there's a reason that the swords glow red, which you'll have to read the book to find out.
Yes, do that. Yeah, it's curious. I'm always curious as to how people got those designs. I didn't know if you wanted to drop a name for the artist or not, or if you even know. But we do try to promote
I don't know.
Okay, that's
fair enough. They came from 99 Designs. That was as much as information as I got from them.
Well, I think it's very sleek. Well, if anyone, I don't know if we'll insert it here, or if not, it's on the thumbnail. Go check it out. It looks very nice, very professional.
Yeah, well, and maybe one thing to highlight is I did receive 2 awards for it.
Oh, yes.
Probably 6 months after it came out.
Yeah. Thank you for. They were staring right at me too, and I just blinked.
No worries. And maybe the one thing that I wanted to highlight is, as a writer, I mean, you sit down and you write this stuff, and you envision in the back of your mind that how great it would be to be recognized like that. But you also think, well, that's really never going to happen for me. And as an indie author, you have to do all your own submissions, and so I did all these submissions early on, and it's like, I'll never hear anything back. And then probably, like I said, it was almost 6 months after I'd written the book right around Christmas time. I get from the first one from International Impact Book Awards, which was a gold medal. I receive an email from them, and you get, as an author, you get bombarded with all of this spam stuff every day, and it's like, how much of this is real crap? And so when I get this email, I'm reading it and I'm going, this is another one of those. They're just trying to get me to buy something here. It's not really happening. And I had to read it 3 or 4 times before it finally clicked that no, I actually won the award. And then Global Book Awards, I got a silver from them probably about a week later. So they both hit right around Christmas time. So it was an amazing Christmas present for me to get those 2 awards.
That's excellent. Yeah, yeah, it is. It is a minefield out there. You don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't know what you're getting into sometimes. But that's excellent that it worked out for you. I'm always curious as to how people like go about getting certain awards because like I don't know like if it's just on the market or people are contacted. I know some of them you have to like kind of enter into to see if they win.
Right. And that was the same thing for both of these. I had to submit my book and enter. I had seen the notifications pop up that they were looking for authors to submit, so I submitted.
So before we go into more of an open thing, I do want to kind of backtrack just a smidge. We were talking about
Sure.
you first attempting to like traditionally publish. I am
Yes.
curious as to like what you felt like your experience was with like writing query letters.
Um, since it was all new to me, it was a little bit challenging. It's like I did a bunch of research trying to understand what they would be looking for. Um, so it took me a while to do that, and then it took me a while to try and figure out how I was going to actually submit it and how I was going to actually present it. And with some of them, they actually, when you went to their website, they actually provided a list of saying, these are the things that we're looking for if you're going to submit your book for us to even consider it. So there are some of that as well involved. But the other thing too is, like I said, I had heard from a few, but the rest of them, it was crickets, no responses at all. So,
Yeah.
and I probably had about 20, 25 different um, publishing houses.
Yeah, it's a completely different skill set. That's what I learned when I was trying to get trying to do traditional publishing myself. Like it is
Hmm.
it's a completely different skill set. You're not used to it, and that's coming from me. I'm a salesman. I do sales, and the struggle of being able to sell my own stuff is it's
Right.
it's disheartening, really. But let's open it up a little
Absolutely.
bit. Let's open it up. Let's kind of talk about like where your
Okay.
story begins as far as a writer. How did you get onto the desire? Not the desire. You said you've always kind of wanted to write, but
Yeah.
like what kicked you over the line? I guess.
Um, yeah. So after I retired, we had bought a house here in North Carolina, and the plan was to remodel that house and then move into it. But because I was pushed out early, we ended up living through the remodel, which was fine. I mean, we had the house set up enough to where we could survive in the house while we completely gutted it and remodeled it. But after that was done, it's like, okay, what's next for me? And they had tried to release the movie Dune during COVID, and it didn't take off because movie theaters and all of that had shut down. So when they re-released it, I had watched it a couple of times, and then at that point, everything started percolating in my head. And it's like, okay, I think I'm ready to write. I think that's the next thing I want to do now that I'm retired. So I put a list of characters together, kind of a backstory for each one of them, with kind of the Dune environment in mind, and then started writing.
So, I mean, wow. So you picked up straight from that, but like you come from, just to give people a little bit of a background on yourself. You come from like the world of IT.
Sure. Yeah, I do.
And
Yes.
you've been kind of like
Yeah.
in that for quite a while. I think 17 plus years is what I remember reading, maybe longer.
Actually, well, total of 41. I spent
Just a little
about
bit
18.
longer. Just a little.
So I spent 18 years in product service, doing repairs, all of that. Everything from printers and terminals, and then we went up to mainframe computers, and then personal PCs and the rest of it. I learned how to do Unix programming, and all of that. I still build my own personal computers. I don't buy a. I do buy a laptop, but I do have a large desktop computer, and I build that myself just as an additional hobby to do. But the last 20 years, I spent as a director supporting other clients and supporting their networks, and the last one being HP. So I was in operations, and in operations, you have no life. You're you've got one outage after another that you're jumping through. You've got your team jumping through it, and then you get called in from escalations when senior management from the company is screaming and yelling that their office is down and they're not getting any response. So guess who's in the middle of that, trying to calm them down while trying to figure out what's going on and how soon repairs can be done. So that was the last half of my IT career.
Oh, that sounds miserable. So does like any of that kind of knowledge or experience, like kind of you find it entering into your writing at all?
Yeah, so I have a very analytical mind. And I know a lot of writers that I talk to, they jump around from place to place as they're writing. I'm more of a straight line. Once I start writing, it's okay. I started here and I'm going to end here and kind of go through it. I don't jump around from chapter, put in this chapter and then go forward 2 chapters and then come back. It's all pretty much straightforward for me. And because I have kind of an analytical mind about it, I can remember what I'm writing so I'm not jumbling the story.
I do not have that ability. I envy you, sir. So,
not to say I don't make notes and forget. Oh, it's this person here, it's that person there. But as far as the structure of the story and the rest of it, yeah, I'm pretty good about that piece of it.
yeah, so I'm what they call a pantser. You know, I just come up with a lot of stuff
Yeah.
off the top of my head. The problem with that is I have massive ADHD, so like that's how I know that like the things that I'm holding on to are good ideas, because otherwise they would just vanish in my
Right.
brain instantly.
They would, yeah, fly away. Yeah.
Yeah, so it is. I'd probably be better served, writing things out and keeping better notes. But so this is your first book, your first jaunt into the literary world. You feel pretty confident
Yes.
in it. What do you feel like your inspirations as far as like writers you've read and people that you kind of emulate?
Yeah. So when I was a kid, I was into Jules Verne. Um, um, Jules Verne. I'm drawing a blank here. Time Machine. H.G. Wells.
There you
I used to read some Edgar Allan Poe. I also used to read Greek mythology and the rest of it, so I had some of that involved as well.
go.
So it's kind of all over the map as far as what I would get involved reading and that type of stuff. And actually, the first actual book that I bought as a kid and read as a kid myself was The Shadow, the original book, The Shadow. And
You don't like the shadow nose kind of shadow? Is that what we're talking about?
exactly, yeah,
Oh wow,
the
yeah,
shadow knows what lurks in the heart of man. Yep.
yeah. I do. Yeah, I grew up loving the shadow too. Man, I haven't heard anybody mention the shadow in quite a while, so that's kind of a nice callback. What do you think in your writing? Like, what
Mhm.
characters do you feel like your readers are just going to absolutely hate for good reasons? But like, which ones do you feel like they're going to villainize the most?
Yeah, so there's two main villains in there, Lorenzo and Craven, and I think they're truly going to hate him. By the middle of the book, there's some stuff that happens in the middle of the book that these guys are complete assholes, and you're gonna know it at that point.
Do you have any like particular scene or moment that you've written? It may not even have to be in Zeta 5, maybe just some stuff that you were like working
Yeah.
on that you're just like particularly proud of. Like you're like, I set out to do a thing. I feel like it hits 1,000%. I was really glad I got that down on paper. Anything like that?
Um, yeah. So actually, for me, so in the middle of the book, I knew I was going to have to write this, and I knew as I'm getting to that point. And that's the other thing too, as a writer. I mean, sometimes your characters have mind of their own, so you've got to try and it's like herding cats. Sometimes you got to try and steer them back the way you want the story to go. And for somebody who doesn't write, that it's kind of hard for them to understand. But these characters just kind of want to go off and do their own thing, and you've got to steer them back. But in the middle of the book, I knew what I needed to do and how I needed to do it, and I was really happy about how it came out. But I also knew that what I was doing was going to affect me, and it actually did. I actually had to stop writing for 2 days after I wrote that chapter because of what happens.
It just affected you that much, or
Yeah, it affected me that much. Yep.
yeah,
But I was really happy about how it turned out.
those moments are I feel like those moments are rare, but
Yeah.
they're fun. I wrote
Yes.
something that I intentionally meant to be exhausting because the character's
Yep.
doing something extremely exhausting, and so I wanted to convey that feeling.
Hmm.
And the editing process for that almost killed me because I had to
Oh, I
reread it.
bet.
I had
Yeah.
to reread this excruciatingly exhausting thing like a bunch of times.
Right.
And I was just like, I'm done. I've got no more left in me. um, I am
I'm
curious.
completely exhausted at this point.
Yeah, yeah. I'm more tired than my main character now. I am curious. I do have this question. It's not the big question. It's just a truth time question. So you have to be as brutally honest as
Sure.
you can. You
Yeah.
pick the hot take you want. It's what do you hate the most in modern fiction today? Like what elements are written out there? You're just like, I wish they would stop doing this, or they don't even have to be written. We had a guest mention cover art in fantasy is just like gone downhill from what it used to be.
Well, yeah, I think cover art has gone downhill. But the other thing for me is with film stuff. Most of the movie stuff now, it's just remakes. They just keep remaking stuff over and over, and there's so much brilliant stuff out there that they don't want to even touch.
Yeah, yeah, the fear of original ideas in Hollywood. I can
Yeah.
definitely get behind that. I can more get behind taking things that are like literary and then just honoring the source material instead of trying to, that's when they want to tell a unique story is when they've already got one that exists. And they're like, but I don't want to
Right.
tell their story. I want to tell mine. I go, well, quit. Find someone else. Yeah. That is a major one. I can definitely agree with you on that. I'm going to go ahead and ask you the big question here. You're a big IT guy.
Absolutely.
You're writing science fiction. I mean, that's what we classify this.
Yes.
Zeta 5 is science fiction.
Yeah.
How do you balance scientific accuracy with creative storytelling?
Yeah, well, so for me, since I did come from the world of IT, when I kind of look at it, it's like, can that logically work? Is it something, or does it? And I had this discussion. I was at book fair a couple of weeks ago, talking with a few people out there, and that was kind of the same question that they asked me: is, well, why do you think it works this way? And for me, it's I try to be logical about it and not something that, well, you can't put the square peg in the round hole and say that, yes, it's going to work. This is total bullshit. It can't really work this way. So for me, when I'm thinking through that stuff, it's like, okay, would I call bullshit on this, or do I think it's something that can actually function? And that's kind of how I approach it.
I mean, that's a good stance. Are we talking like just general scientific ideas, or more like related to like how certain technologies work because of your IT
Well,
background?
kind of it's kind of both. So it's kind of how the technology works. But for me, in Zeta 5, it's more future technology. So it's not really stuff that exists now, but it's kind of, I, I bring in technology moments that, yes, this could happen if they try to do this, or if something doesn't work, why didn't it work, and kind of explain in that realm why it's not functioning and what they're going to do to try and resolve it. So that's kind of how I approach it.
I guess one final question regarding
Hmm.
Zeta 5 is because there is
Yes.
two, there's more than one type of science fiction, but there's definitely two where you have one focuses on the sci-fi babble, and then you have the other that just
Yep.
kind of like it's there, but it's not like Star Trek focuses on it. They're creating new technologies every week, some long form name. So where do you feel like Zeta 5 falls in there? Is it heavy in the techno babble? Is it light?
No, it's light in the techno babble because I didn't want to. It's the same thing with fantasy. I mean, there's a little bit of fantasy element to it,
Hmm.
but with the fantasy writers, sometimes they create these names and these worlds, and you got to have a map to figure out where the hell you're going. I didn't want to be that guy, so you don't need a map and you don't need techno babble. You don't need to be an IT literate person to understand what I'm talking about here. I kind of walk you through it in simple terms and trying to make it easy for people to understand. So that way, anybody that picks it up doesn't have to be an IT person to understand what's going on in
Well, that's appreciated. No one wants to have a college degree to read a book, but
there. Right.
I mean, this was a fun conversation. I think we're coming up on our end here. I do want to have you like let people know where they can find you if they want to reach out and
Yes.
get in contact, or where they can find your book. That's more important.
Yeah. So my book is actually so there's actually two books. I just released the second book probably last month. And so that's this one here, Zeta 5, the window splinters.
Okay.
So if you can kind of see, there's kind of a like a Stargate type behind them. So that brings more of the Stargate element. There's a little more of that involved in the second book. Not as much in the first book, but yep.
Well, let's squeeze in a little bit of time and talk about the new one that just released. I didn't even know
Okay.
we had one on the shelf. I thought we were just talking about the first one. Okay, yeah, let's bring that one in. What's the second book all about?
So the second book continues. The well, so the second book continues from the first book, but there's a lot of stuff that happens in the first book. So you have to read the first book to understand what's going on in the second book.
Yeah.
But what happens is in there, Connor goes back to Zeta 5. But, but when he steps through, I call it the window. It's actually the gate that takes him from one planet to another. When he steps in that to go to Zeta 5, something malfunctions and he ends up in a different dimension. So people that he thought were once gone to him are now back, and they're embroiled in their own war. So he has some knowledge from stuff that he has done previously to try and help them resolve their issues. So
Well,
that's kind of what takes off on the second book.
that's an interesting take. Are you pushing for like a trilogy? Are you going series? Like, what's the plan?
Um, well, when I wrote Zeta 5, Path of the One, it was supposed to be one and done. I was supposed to write it and get it out of my system, but probably about 3 months after I had written that book, I started coming up with all these other ideas. So right now, I'm three-quarters of the way through my fifth book and hoping to finish the series with book six.
Okay. So hopefully it doesn't become like a Jurassic World situation where it's like, well, we're going to Zeta 5 now. Zeta 5's coming to us now. We're rebuilding Zeta 5. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not quite that way. Yeah, no.
But yeah, it does sound
But
interesting. Everyone, go check that out. Keep an eye out for books 1 and 2 so far. There isn't a third one you're
yes.
keeping from me, right?
Third one hasn't been released yet. I'm still working with the editors on when we're going to start editing that one. So that one will probably be released maybe 6-8 months from now.
All right. So keep an eye out for Zeta 5 Book 1 and Zeta 5 Book 2. The Zeta continues. Hopefully, the Zeta saga. Where can we find we find you online?
Yeah. So I'm available on TikTok under RD Moreno Author. I'm on Instagram under RD Moreno Author. I have an author page on Facebook, which is RD Moreno, author. And then my website is www.rdmorenoauthor.com.
Everyone, if you didn't catch that, check the description. All those links will be down there. I do want to remind everyone real quick of the incredible contest that's still ongoing. Excuse me. Don't mean to interrupt my own ad break with a burp. Our incredible contest is still going. Kimberly Huther is going to edit the winner of said contest. I want to clarify 2 things. I keep telling everybody it's 2 rounds of edits. That's just to clarify. It has to be edited at least twice by somebody, either yourself twice or some friends and family.
Mm-hmm.
Just go through 2 rounds. It doesn't need to be professional or anything like that. Just 2-round minimum. And submit, because Sean and I are reading these entries as they're coming in. So the sooner we can get your name fresh in our head, the better for everybody involved. We are combing through them as they're coming through. It's a lot of fun. I just want to remind everyone, keep submitting. And our Telltale promotions are monthly. Keep an eye out for our monthly one. And yeah, if you guys like what we're doing on the channel, again, you like the guests we're bringing on, you want to continue these conversations, or if there's some burning questions you want us to start asking guests, let us know in the comments. Subscribe to the channel, or semperscribe, as we like to say around here. Rick, is there anything else you want to add before we call it a night here?
No, I think we hit on all the highlights. It is available on Amazon. It's also available on Barnes and Noble. The first book is. The second book isn't there yet, but so first book is published wide, and second book will be published wide soon.
Yep, that's Zeta 5 books 1 and 2, and keep an eye out for the third one. I'm sure it's gonna pop up by the time this airs. I think we'll just fade to black. I think that's a good show.